What is the history of science and why might you want to study it? History of science is the study of how scientific knowledge or scientific ideas developed over time. It is a branch of history, it is not a branch of science. So, if you take a course in the history of science at a university, it will typically be offered by the humanities school, not by the science departments. In high school, science is generally taught with the intention of improving your ability to solve applied problems so that you can clear your high school exams or engineering or medical entrance exams, because engineering and medicine are two of the most important domains in which science is applied. But when we study the history of science, we are not focused so much on how science is applied in engineering or medicine. We are interested in finding out how scientific knowledge or scientific ideas developed over time to become such a dominant force in modern society. For example, we might study the astronomy of the ancient Babylonians or the ancient Greeks and try to understand what those ancient people believed about the universe and how their understanding of the universe changed and developed over time, over centuries or thousands of years, to give rise to the modern disciplines of astronomy or cosmology. Most people are aware that the dominant model of the solar system in pre modern times was geocentric, that is, having the Earth at the center and having the planets and the Sun revolving around the Earth. Geo means Earth, so the geocentric model is a model with the Earth at the center. Now, this is not the model that we accept today. So, why did people in that time think that this model was a good model? Were they stupid, less intelligent than us? Or were they just as smart as the intelligent people today and still thought that the geocentric model was correct? How did Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, and others change these conceptions about the solar system to make the heliocentric model of the solar system be the dominant one? The word helios means sun, and so the heliocentric model is the sun centered model with all the planets, including the Earth, going around the sun. So, how exactly did this shift from geocentrism to heliocentrism happen? What were the logical arguments that were given in support of either of these two models? Who were the people involved in these debates? And what sort of political, religious, and sociological factors influenced these people? How did their ideas in turn influence back the society? What impact did they have on politics and on religion? You probably know that Galileo got into trouble with the Catholic Church over his heliocentric views. What exactly were his views? And what were the views of the authorities in the Catholic Church? And what really happened between Galileo and the Church? Was it an obvious example of a dogmatic church punishing Galileo, the open minded scientist? Or is the story more complicated than that? And after the success of heliocentrism, how did the heliocentric model itself give way to the modern conceptions about the solar system and the universe? In the modern conception, even the sun is not at the center of the universe. The sun is just one among innumerable stars, and there is no object that we can point to and argue as the natural center of the universe. How did that happen? So, this should give you some idea about what sort of questions are studied in the history of science. Of course, there are plenty of other questions to worry about, even if we just want to focus on the history of astronomy. And one can really pursue answers to each of those questions in great detail. Similar things can be done for the history of every area of science. Now, what you might notice from these questions is that they are not about memorizing and using formulas to solve numerical problems in any exam. So, why are these questions useful to pursue? And in general, why should one study the history of science?